Housing affordability is at its lowest level that we've seen in the last 2 decades. And the only reason I say 2 decades is because I don't have information past that point. But it's significantly lower. And on top of that, we've been at the same affordability level for the last 2 years. So today, we're going to talk about Utah's housing affordability, why it's so low, what's keeping it there, and just blabber a little bit about the Utah real estate market. My name is Paden Clancy Fairbanks with Mountain Buff Real Estate. If you like this information, you find it useful, a big old like would be super helpful. I want to get above 8 likes on this one, and so let's see if we can get that to happen. On top of that, if you're looking for a home in Utah, southwestern Wyoming, southeastern Idaho, I'd be happy to sit down and blabber with you about buying or selling a home. But that's all the advertising I got. Let's talk about some stats. Let's start with the big one first, the Housing Affordability Index. The way that this index works is it says that if you have the median income, this is how much you can qualify for the median home. So that right now, the Housing Affordability Index is at 76, effectively saying that if you're making the median income for the state of Utah, you can afford about 76% of what the median cost of a home would be, which is terrible, awful. A good idea to give you some scaling. Back in 2012, it was almost 200%. And then you can kind of steadily see that it steadily went down over the last 10 years, but especially in the last 2 years, since 2022, it stayed at that 80% and below level, showing that housing has been unaffordable in Utah for years now. So what has caused this? Well, the median income in the state of Utah has effectively been stagnant since 2019. Between 2019 at $99,910 and 2025 at $101,200, we haven't seen really an effective increase in median income. Just to give you an idea, in the 8 years before 2019, we saw about a 4.6% gain every year. Somewhere between 4 and 5% would be a better way to say that. Where in the last 4 years, we've only seen about a 1.5% gain total between that entire time. Well, all right, Paden, if income hasn't really went up since 2019, then why didn't affordability crash at that time? Well, that will take us directly to median sold value, where you can actually see the tippy top of when median sold price was at its highest was at the beginning of 2022, the exact time we started seeing this affordability crisis start happening in the state of Utah. And absolutely, it plummeted all the way back down to like $455,000 the next couple of months. But that entire time period for the next 2 years, prices have effectively been stagnant in the state of Utah, hovering somewhere between $510,000 and $490,000, starting right about that exact same time that we saw affordability plummet. The next piece that you have to understand that yes, home prices skyrocketed in the state of Utah, but it was that combined with interest rates going up in 2022 as well. You can actually see that in 2022, interest rates almost doubled. So buying a home instantly became much more expensive, not just because of home prices, but because your mortgage skyrocketed. The difference between buying a home in 2021 and 2024 is effectively $1,000 on median sold price home. And that's with 20% down. Imagine if you got a low credit score, you've got PMI, you got extra fees on top of that just in general. So those costs could even be higher. And so the difference between being able to afford a house in 2021 and 2024 is huge. And because wages haven't went up in the state of Utah for 6 years now, interest rates are stuck at 7%, and they've been there for multiple years now, and home prices are stagnant at around $500,000, we're not seeing any relief. Would this make you expect home prices to start going down in the state of Utah? You would assume with inventory starting to skyrocket and demand slightly going down, there would be an expectation prices would go down. But they didn't go down with the extreme increase with interest rates, and they also haven't went down in the last 2 years. So what event would cause them to go past that point where prices go down 10, 15, or 20%? I really couldn't tell you. What I can tell you is that buying a home in the state of Utah is at one of its most unaffordable times in my lifespan. So what should you do? My advice is typically always the same. It's always a good time and a bad time to buy and sell. If you're looking to sell your house, price aggressively, do all those standard things that a really good real estate agent will do. If you're looking to buy a house, feel comfortable going and looking at multiple houses. And understand it's looking like you're going to have a lot more options, and be willing to negotiate aggressively. This is all going to be dictated county to county, so make sure that your real estate agent has some form of a specialty in the area that you're working in, so that they can tell you, you know what, if you're buying a $650,000 house in the Avenues, you're probably going to have 8 to 10 offers. But it's going to be different if you're buying a $350,000 house in Tremont for a townhome. You're probably only going to have 1 or 2 offers, maybe less than that if they haven't priced it appropriately. What do you think? Has this housing affordability made it so that you're not wanting to buy a house right now? What more information do you want to be able to decide what you should or shouldn't do in real estate? Or what are just some things you'd want to learn just in general? But I really appreciate your watching. A like and subscribe are hugely useful. And other than that, have a great day. Bye.